Hello? No, the microphone. The jazz. No. Hello? All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our October 24th meeting. It is 7:07 and I call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call roll?
Mr. Calvo is absent. Ms. Casal Munoz. Ms. Garcia Robes.
Present.
Ms. Perez.
Present?
Mr. Rodriguez is absent. Mr. Dunidor.
Present.
Mr. Zogby.
Present.
Madam President, you have enough members to conduct business.
Thank you. Can we please stand for the invocation?
Lord, we pray for your guidance and direction and benefit of those who live and work in the city of Hialeah. Amen.
Amen. Could we please put our hand on our chest and face our flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you please read us the meeting guidelines?
All lobbyists must register with the city clerk. As a courtesy to others, please refrain from using cellular telephones or other similar electronic devices in the council chamber. A maximum of 3 speakers in favor and 3 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the council on any one item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No signs or placards in support of or in opposition to an item or speaker shall be permitted within the council chamber. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on matters of public concern or on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may address the city council on any item pertaining to city business during the comments and questions portion of the meeting. A member of the public is limited to 1 appearance before the city council, and the speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The public can view public meetings on the city's YouTube page. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephonic conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So this evening we have a few presentations. We're gonna start off by, we have our red ribbon presentation that's here tonight, and you're gonna see that there's a lot of youth in blue shirts that's here representing what we're gonna be doing today, lighting up City Hall in the color of red. So I stand before you today with an immense pride and joy as we gather to celebrate the remarkable initiative that is undertaken by our beloved city of Hialeah. The sight before us tonight as we go outside will be a radiant glow that City Hall will be illuminated in red. This signifies the beginning of a month of long journey that is very close to our hearts here in the city of Hialeah, which is Red Ribbon Month. First and foremost, I would like to extend my warmest congratulations and gratitude to our city officials for always standing by this cause, our community leaders, which are here before us, our park director, William Sanchez, who has always led in this tobacco-free initiative, and most importantly, Julio Espulgas, who is our EPI coordinator and the person that leads this initiative with our youth and really owns in on this message. Everyone involved in making this today a reality, thank you. Your unwavering dedication and commitment to raising awareness to the importance of living this drug-free life is truly commendable. Red Ribbon Month is a campaign that serves as a powerful reminder to the significance of substance abuse. By lighting City Hall in red, we symbolize our united front against this detrimental impact that drugs have on individuals, families, and communities. This initiative not only highlights our commitment to eradicating drug abuse, but also demonstrates the determination to foster a safe and healthy environment for all. Today, we gather not only to congratulate the city for this remarkable initiative, but we also want to say thank you and honor those countless individuals who dedicate their lives to this cause of substance abuse prevention. It's essential to acknowledge the tremendous efforts made paraeducators, our healthcare providers, our law enforcement officers who are here, our cadets who are here that serve also as role models, and empower our youth and our citizens about the dangers of drugs. Through this illumination of City Hall becomes a beacon of hope, inspiring our residents to take a pledge to live a drug-free life. And it serves as a reminder to our children and our future generations that they have the power to make the right choices and to resist those temptations that may come their way. Thank you, and may the glow of City Hall continue to inspire us throughout Red Ribbon Month and beyond. I would like to take a moment because if you may, Julio, Mr. Espulgas, if you could come up really quick to the podium. I think this individual is a definition of what it means to be a role model here in the city of Hialeah. Julio started off wearing blue shirts just like you guys. He was an EPI student here in the city of Hialeah. And the man that was his director, if you could stand up, please, William Sanchez, that was his teacher, okay? And they're still here in the city of Hialeah. And through time, Julio became a student, then he was a part-time employee, he was a full-time employee, he moved up to be a manager, and now he's the program coordinator here at EPI. So Hialeah did something right. You are a foundation to this man and to the life that he's leading. And by you touching him, look how many souls he's touching right here. So thank you for that. And thank you to our law enforcement that you guys are the ones that deal with this daily in our community. You see the face of drug addiction and you have to show empathy and understanding when dealing with these individuals that are not in their right state of mind. So thank you for the work that you do in our community. An applause to everyone involved, please. We're gonna take a short break. We have 3 elevators. Whoever would like to come downstairs with us, we're gonna light up City Hall in red and we're gonna quickly make our way back up. And our EPI group who is running this initiative, we would love to have you all guys downstairs with us for that photo if you may. Hello? All right, so we're back. I apologize for the delay. We are back. If I could please have everyone back into chambers. We are going to move on to item B in presentations. Item B. I think it's gonna be H1. Tonight is a special evening for me, particularly, because I have someone in the audience. My brother's a little bit jealous because it's my mom's birthday. And when they asked her what she wanted to do, she chose to come here and be with me instead of go out to dinner with him and my dad. So happy birthday to my mom,
Happy
who
birthday.
decided to spend her birthday here with us. And all of you, the queen of my heart. God bless her. All right, moving on. So now that I got your attention, sorry, Christian. I'm mom's favorite just for tonight. You're her favorite all the other days of the year. All right, item B is our presentations. And the city of Hialeah is going to recognize some employees in our Hialeah Police Department. That's why they're all gathered here with us tonight. And I will leave it off for HR and the mayor. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe. Okay. Good evening, everybody. And this is something we started to do because we wanted to acknowledge folks that have been really gave their life to the city. They in part have made the city what it is today. And in many instances, council members and mayors come and go, but city employees stay. And in many instances, the city employees, regardless of the department, are the portal to our residents. And, they are the ones that provide the service that we brag about in our community all the time. So we're in I know I'm speaking for everybody when I say we greatly, greatly appreciate all the hard work. So we want to acknowledge members of the Hialeah family that have been with us for 25 years. And hopefully they'll be, I wasn't putting Bode Hombre, I'm sorry. I'll put DJ voice. And hopefully they will be here and they'll continue to serve the city of Hialeah. So I'm gonna name I believe it's 8 officers, and then we're gonna go through others. But let's Hialeah Police Department, 25 years of service. Fernando Villa. Fernando, where are you? And you have your family here, no? Bring your family up. Bring your family up. Chief. Fernando Villa, 25 years. Alexi Castañeda. Alexi. Young Perez. Ernesto Gutiérrez. I was remiss and I apologize because I did not mention their ranks. Fernando Major via Jan Alexi Ernesto Commanders, and I apologize for not mentioning your rank. Also 25 years, Lieutenant Antonio Luis. Now we have 25 years Sergeant July Fernandez. All right, that was July Fernandez and her entourage. Sergeant Luis Servilla. And also from the Hialeah Police Department, Junior Piñeiro. All right, again, want to thank all the 25-year veterans. We appreciate your service and for your continued service. We also have two 30-year officers who have served our community for a long time, and they must have started when they were 15. I go see that's in violation of some youth labor law or something. Officer Joseph Eloski, Officer Okay, and then we have 30 years of service to the city of Hialeah, Major Manuel Rodriguez. 30 years of service. And you're all eligible, I guess, for Burger King discounts, no? También? Okay. On the fire department. 25-year veterans, again, serving our community, and we're proud of them. Assistant Chief of Operations, David Rodriguez. Division Fire Chief Edward Altador. That's it? And neither is there. Okay, so we're good. So there's two other fire department members. Captain John Kenyon is not here today, and neither is Lieutenant Darrell Cox. They're on assignment. On assignment. Secret assignment? Special assignment. We have no idea what they're doing out there. Okay, but hopefully it's secret. And there's two other 25-year from the streets department. We have Oscar Guerra, who has already received his, but we want to make sure that we acknowledge him. And Ricardo Marin, a meter reader with the Public Works Department. We also want to acknowledge, they're not here today, but they've already, I guess he's still here, yeah. Okay, and so that leads, from our telecommunication manager number 1, from the 911 communication center. A lot of talk on 911 lately. Okay, Carlos Coronel. I think that's it. Okay. Madam President, that's all the presentations that we have.
Oh, I left. Melissa, can you get me my, sorry. Thank you. All right. Huh? Okay. All right. Well, what a beautiful way to celebrate people that give back to our community and the time that they've spent here in the city of Hialeah. We could wish them only blessings and may they stay safe always, them and their families. Thank you for your service, all of you. All right, we're moving on to item H on today's agenda. Madam Clerk, can you please read the item?
Presentation by Timothy Benjamin, City of Hialeah Internal Auditor on the completed risk assessment.
Madam Chair, if I might, just before we bring Tim up.
Yes, Mayor.
Council, I've asked Tim to do an assessment. Tim's been visiting different pieces of property and just kind of doing an overview of things that that we've been working on to fix and then other things that we will be bringing during the course of this year as part of your budget approval. And so we'll tee it up for him and he'll go ahead and go through some of the things. And he's always available if you guys need to speak to him on issues that you might find pressing. The reason we brought Tim here was to act as an internal auditor that could, go into different departments, other areas of the operation and give assessments, not as a stakeholder, but more as a protection to the city, liability issues. And so I'm very proud to have him here. I've known him for a long time. So with that, Tim, all you.
Well, thank you very much.
Good evening, sir. You have something you need to share?
Nope,
No? Okay,
nope.
go ahead.
All verbal. I'm gonna spare y'all. Mayor told me to keep it under an hour, so I'll try and do.
Oh, Lord. Is your mic on?
Yes,
Okay, thank
there
you.
you go. For the taller guys here. I've got to say up front that I'm very blessed and very proud to be here at the city of Hialeah. Also, definitely very blessed to have such a great staff in the risk management that I took over when I first started here. We've done some incredible things I'm very, very proud of. I'm very proud of my folks. So basically, when I first started at the city, a couple of months in, there was 2 incidents that happened at our city parks, and both of them were unavoidable accidents that happened with young children. And that's something that really struck a very strong chord with myself and the mayor. It's unimaginable that an accident would happen that's preventable with a child, especially under your watch. That's one of the reasons why last summer, myself, Franklin Duarte, which is our risk administrator, and Mike Mahoney is a third party public safety, safety expert. We walked all of our 26, and I'm saying that with a little bit of kind of pride for city of Hialeah, and did not think that there were so many parks within city of Hialeah. 26 active and passive parks. All 3 of us walked every square inch, every fence line, every room, and every part of every park, looking for any type of risk. And unfortunately, some of the biggest risks we found was in our playgrounds. I'll have to say the most dramatic and impactful thing that has happened to me here in the city of Hialeah was that one of the first parks that we saw when we inspected one of the swing sets, that chain link at the very top of it. And this is coming from somebody that actually has 4 children, 2 grandchildren. When you see them on those swing sets, it is pretty scary as they go up almost vertical. Looking at the chain link that was on the top of this particular playground, which did not have soft mulch, by the way, it was very packed mulch, was an accident waiting to happen very, very soon. I think that was one of the things that was most impactful and thankful that I was actually able, my team was able to actually recognize that. We immediately closed that swing set and many other swing sets throughout the city as we walk through. So the good news though is that the Parks Department actually, through the leadership of Willie and Mike, have addressed all of those major concerns that we've had. All the swing sets have been replaced. All of the playgrounds have been upgraded, things that need to be upgraded. One of the biggest things that we had was the ground foundation. Because as you know, from a parks perspective, if you've gone to some of our newer parks, it's more like a soft rubbery material, like recycled material, as opposed to mulch that's been pounded to the ground. That's like concrete. It's not very pleasant for a child to fall on that. And what that also led to is our park staff through management actually now does weekly management safety checks throughout our parks, on top of daily walks by the staff. And they're consistently training their staff to get keep an eye out for any type of risks. One of the accidents that happened earlier was a gate that wasn't kind of properly closed, and it was chain linked, and it was an opening enough for a small child to get out. So the city has done a fantastic job through our Parks Department and mitigating those risks. But unfortunately, at night, people do come into our parks and they do vandalize. So we need to stay diligent on it. This is something that doesn't ever stop. Also, on the parks, we've actively been replacing, as you've seen, the parking lot lighting within all of our parks was very dark and unsafe as a security risk. I think all the parks at this point, from a parking lot perspective, the lights have been replaced or have been repurposed. Have been upgraded. Now I know we're working on the fields themselves, but from a security perspective. And also utilizing that same team, we also walked through all of our fire stations and did the inspection top to bottom. There was 4 major instances or major issues that we had found that are being mitigated as we speak. As Eric Johnson, is Eric still here? Had told you on our station 4 that yes, I actually did put my hand through a very soft, wet, moist wall. So that is actually a true story. We're addressing that issue. That was a roof that pretty much has not been maintained for a very long time. That's already been assessed. We have quotes out, and Jorge Martinez and our construction management team has been all over that. They've also started some of the mitigation on the inside of the fire station as well. Also, which is baffling, our fire station 7, when we actually opened up our emergency generator room, I don't know who designed this, but they actually had a 500-gallon fuel tank that was set in an enclosed room behind the generator, which is an electrical machine. Obviously, that's something that when you're a risk individual is very scary to have that much accelerant in a building that houses all your firefighters. So Jorge Martinez actually has gotten quotes. We're going to remove that old one. We're going to put a new fuel tank outside, and we're going to do an external connection, which is what it should have been done in the first place. Also on station 3, if you've ever been to station 3, the bays, the concrete right in front of the bays where the trucks come out, well, you actually have a resident parking on the side, and they kind of walk right past that. There's very large and high grade cracks that are major tripping hazards that the construction is actually addressing to either fix or replace that section of the concrete. And the last thing was the high level of mold that we had observed throughout the entire fire stations led us to actually hire an outside third party mold inspection company that came out and actually went to every fire station. Eric had joined us on that one and took all the samples and sent all the samples to labs and tested for mold. The good news is there wasn't any what we call dangerous mold, like black mold. But nonetheless, it was not a favorable condition. So I know that fire administration and construction is working on that amongst other things to address the fire stations. And I think Eric can agree. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we are making progress at the fire stations. There's been increased communications and an increased effort to look at some of the issues that are there. It's going to take a while. You know, these are our facilities that are older and run down, but we're kind of getting there. And also we haven't really, we've concentrated on the safety for the citizens. One of the things that's been a major focus within the risk department since the mayor has taken over was also taking care of our employees as well. One of the big issues is we had was, let's say a not favorable workers' comp situation within the city. It's a very simple concept. You take care of your employee gets hurt, you get them diagnosed quickly. You figure out the best course of action medically, and you get them fixed and you get them back to work. Was not working that way. Our workers' comp coordinator, Marietta Sotero, was hired in January of 2022 and has pretty much reinvented the entire workers' comp process here at the city. Proud to say that she has rewritten the manual. She has translated in English and Spanish. She has written a version for employee-based, written a version for management-based. We brought in workers' comp attorneys to train our senior management. She has gone out to every department within the city and has sat down with them on the things to do, things not to do for workers' comp, focusing on safety trainings, and making sure that we've got a safe environment for our employees. We've had 18 safety trainings this year, which is an increase, and we're looking to increase that for next year. And the results of this is a material decrease in our workers' comp cases from 223 in 2021 to 53 in this last year, 2023. So kudos to Marietta and the risk department for their efforts. And lastly, the city has also established a citywide risk advisory team. This is through the guidance of Ismari, the chief of staff. So the team is a representative of 9 departments throughout the city. And the purpose is to lead the city on ongoing safety improvements and to mitigate risk across all departments, which includes staff training and education, recommendations for establishing best practices across the city, and reviewing the process for reporting health and safety concerns. Because everybody needs to be the eyes out there for the city. It's not just the risk department. This is an all hands on deck approach. Everybody in the city, everybody in the department, every employee, if you see, you know, something that looks dangerous that actually could lead to an accident for anybody, whether it's a resident, a visitor, or, you know, a coworker, then we're definitely encouraging everybody within the city to have their eyes open. And we're trying to develop this formal process in order to notify the city of certain concerns so that way they can be addressed. But the number one priority really is the safety of your employees, the safety of your citizens, and risk mitigation never stops, unfortunately. So that's kind of where we are right now. I know there's still some things that we need to do, but we're very good at where we're at. We feel pretty good where we're at right now.
Well, congratulations on, you know, doing all these tours and visiting all our locations for our firemen. We really appreciate it. I have a question.
Sure.
Though, does risk also have to do with the component of having these AED machines at our different locations? Would that be
We've
like
actually
part of our
made it-
safety?
We've actually made it part of risk. Actually,
Okay.
we've been working with the fire department to assume the management of that. Actually, a quick little story. We're at one of the parks that has a community center. A community center really wasn't on our radar.
Mhm.
But since we were there, we decided to inspect it, and it was filled with hundreds of seniors. And we
Mhm.
could not find one AED in that entire facility.
Wow. Okay.
So we're making sure that every facility within the city of Hialeah definitely has an
Has
AED.
it.
It's just a communication issue because
Yeah.
a lot of people or a lot of departments actually haven't been notifying the city that.
I know that I had spoken to Mr. Sanchez about having it at Mylander because that's where we have the football games, but I didn't really expand and think, you know, at all our senior buildings, at our comedores, at our parks. It's something I think that I don't know if there's a cost component, but I could imagine that there could be some kind of grant that is available that maybe the city could apply for.
The city's done a very good job of actually replenishing the AEDs that we've had.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, there was very many that were expired. As you can see in out in the hallway, when I first started here, there was one that looked like it expired in 2017. These are all been updated. Recently, we've ordered, I don't know, the chief is still here, about an additional 20 on top of like 60 that we received. So I mean, we've had a pretty strong amount of AEDs that we've distributed throughout the city.
Oh.
In case I need you.
All right.
Most of the AEDs, a lot of the AEDs have been, first of all, they have warranty anytime they're used. They're Bluetooth, so they go ahead and they call the company and they come to refill it, so it's always going to be on. They've been mostly, thank God for grants, and they've been doing a great job. Grants, we're putting them, we just received 12, which are going to the Hialeah Housing and Building Departments, and then the rest really taking care of it. So we got another 21 coming for the rest of the city.
Thank you. And just for the record, your name and address.
And Benjamin? Willie Guerra, 83 East Fifth.
Thank you, sir. All right. So any other questions from our?
Through the chair,
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
real quick, Tim, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that quick update. Just had a question. Is there a formula that we use to determine the risk of our facilities citywide? Is there something that we use that says, you know, this plus this, you know, equals this amount of risk?
You know, in the risk environment, they exist, but in reality, it's about common sense.
Yeah,
You know, I'm a parent. Okay. I've spent 15 years in scouting. I've lived looking out for keeping people safe.
Yeah.
I think, you know, from a technical perspective, when you get into litigation, if somebody trips and falls, you know, was the crack more than 1 inch? I mean, you know, you get into that minutia. But from a measurement perspective, it's just common sense. I mean, you know, if you actually, would you want your family member to walk past this or continually walk, you know, past this particular sidewalk or, you know, experience this or that? Pretty much that's just a rule of thumb.
so when we do, like in the future, when we develop a new park or a new rec center or a new facility, are there standards? Are there different ways that you can build things to make them safer and
Oh,
less risk?
absolutely.
Okay,
Oh, no, absolutely.
okay.
Without a doubt.
And is there like an industry standard that we can compare ourselves? Like, for example, like the city of Hialeah, you know, has less risk than, I don't know, Doral. Is there something like that or?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, you know, typically what is measured is the amount of liability cases you have and how much you actually pay out.
Okay.
From that particular perspective, we did make a strategic move, and typically what the city used to use when they'd have let's say a hole and they have to cordon it off, they would put like yellow caution tape. One of the things we changed is we got rid of all the yellow caution tape and we replaced it with red danger tape. Because from a optics perspective, that gives you a lot more visual that this is something that we really do not want you to cross. Now, if a citizen actually crosses it, then from a litigation perspective, it's a lot easier to defend. Okay, they crossed the caution. Caution means just be careful. Red danger tape means don't go past this. This is a danger. So we've actually changed our perspective on that. We bought 500 rolls and we distributed between Public Works, construction, Parks and Rec. So we have it out there in the city.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's great. Any other questions, Mayor?
No, just again, this is just ongoing work that I want him to continue to do, apart from, you know, looking at practices and procedures in different departments, you know, continuously want to try to evolve and improve. And you know, we did there's really no slam at anybody, but there was maintenance is usually the first thing that people start to neglect when you have economic rough patches, you know, and the problem is that these things, it's like in your own home. If you don't upkeep them, if you don't stay on top of them, they're going to come to roost, and then they're going to be more expensive if you just didn't deal with them at the time. So, you know, collaborating with different department heads and different stakeholders, you know, we just want to continue to do this and avoid a headache, an unnecessary headache. And the example he was showing early, you know, walking through a park, and Tim was identifying areas where, you know, you had swing sets that were rusted. just, one swing away from a catastrophe. But thank God, we identify it, we could fix it and get it repaired. And that's an ongoing with everything. So we're pleased with the work that he's doing. We're gonna throw more stuff at him, more things I need him to take a look at. You talked about sidewalks, I get communications from people that want to, address issues of sidewalks and not just cars parking on the sidewalk, but walking on the sidewalk where a tree may have lifted the sidewalk and the liabilities that we're exposed to,
Mhm.
these are things that we want to be, kind of mindful at and be able to address it as soon as it's identified. So ongoing, and if you guys see something, by all means, he's accessible and
Absolutely.
you just gotta understand he roots for the Broncos, and other than that,
I'm sorry about that.
which is a tough year for him, but anyways.
8
Thanks,
Super
Tim.
Bowls and 3 Super Bowl wins. I think I'll.
All right, get out of here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I'm sorry about that.
Nobody cares about.
All
this.
right, we're moving on. Thank you, sir. Moving on to comments and questions. Is there anyone in council chambers or anyone online that would like to speak? Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Before
Thanks
before
for-
you
Oh,
begin, I
sorry,
wanted, no,
name
no,
and address.
yes,
Oh,
but before you
just
begin,
name or
I just
name?
wanted to clarify on record.
Sorry,
I know that you had submitted a video that you wanted for us to show.
that's correct.
But I made the decision not to show the video, not because
I understand
um,
that.
of anything other than the person that's in the video is not here. And due to that, I do not feel comfortable showing a video of someone that I do not have their consent of sharing that information. So I apologize if you do want
No,
to
it's
share the
okay.
video at
It's
another
okay.
time.
No, no.
Um,
It's okay.
um,
I understand, and I thought that the final
Yes.
is gonna be the
no, it's
situation.
okay.
I
I just
understand
wanted
it.
you
I
to know
understand.
that's
It's okay. I'm
that
going
was
to
my feeling
explain.
behind it. Okay,
If you give me enough time, I'm going to explain.
okay. Go
Okay, I
ahead.
appreciate that.
Remember, 3 minutes, your name and
Yeah.
address for the record.
Okay. Slow down with the timer, please. Okay, I'm going to share a
Tu
short.
nombre
I'm
y la
sorry.
dirección.
Gabriel Rodriguez, 361 East 12th Street.
Yes. you got that.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to share a little story about my person. I am a former political prisoner in Cuba, at the Castro brothers regimes at 17. That's why you're going to understand why I like to be here and can speak and say whatever I want to say if it's in the right direction. That's why I always talk about the Hialeah police, the good job they're doing, those young officers. It's totally different in the way that I experienced in Cuba. I'm going to use the translator, though it's going to be easier for me. And in Cuba, yo sufrí prisión o preso.
In Cuba, I suffered prison.
Excuse me. Oh,
Se los-
But he's
I'm
still
sorry.
speaking in English.
I knew it. Believe it or not,
No.
I get nervous when I get here.
No, don't worry. It's okay. It's just a long day.
Listen,
No, now he's ready.
en Cuba yo sufrí prisión,
In Cuba, I suffered prison,
opresión, maltrato del gobierno,
mistreated from the government,
maltrato de la policía.
mistreated from the police.
Por eso es que yo balanceo y analizo la diferencia que hay
That's why I balance and I difference
en todo Estados Unidos,
in all of United States.
pero específicamente aquí en la ciudad de Hialeah, en la cual llevo 45 años.
But more here in city of Hialeah that I have 45 years.
Cuando ustedes hicieron sus campañas políticas,
When you did your campaign, your political campaigns,
les prometieron a los ciudadanos que iban a hacer lo mejor posible que ustedes podían hacer
you
cuando estuvieran en este puesto.
you promised the city the best you can do when you would be in this position.
Por los años que llevo en esta ciudad,
From
Yo-
the years that I've been in the city,
Yo he analizado que ustedes están haciendo un buen trabajo. No lo digo por hipocresía ni por
I have
política.
noticed that you have done a good job. I don't say to be hypocritical.
Les digo que por mi edad y por mi experiencia que tengo en la vida, yo sé que ustedes están trabajando bien.
By my age and by my experience, I know that you are working well.
My time is about to spirit. Next reunion, I'm going to explain the situation happened, the incident, no accident with the police, Hialeah police.
Okay.
And someday the mayor gave me about 30 minutes with some picture that I show you, and you kept the pictures at that time. It was about 3 or 4 months ago. I'm going to remind that. So I'm going to make the 2 comments, the incident
Got it.
and the street and the pictures I already took over there. Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time. I'm
Thank
sorry, I knew I
No,
didn't
no,
going to
no.
have enough time, but it's
Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, anybody else in council chambers or online that would like to speak?
Hi, Eric Johnson, Hialeah Firefighters, Local 1102. We are here to give credit where credit's due. George Martinez, Construction Director. You're an animal. He's incredible. He's absolutely awesome. We've seen changes here since you've been here that we've never seen before. Kudos to you. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for being a part of this family. It's a little dysfunctional, but we're getting it done. Tim Benjamin, you have been pretty much amazing. We had a risk manager prior to that, won't mention names, but he was actually the risk himself for the city, at least on liability. The fire department hasn't filed one lawsuit on workman's comp, and we have a past history. We've got around 80 years of filing lawsuits on workman's comp. This is the first time in our history I can look back and say that we are taking care of our employees. This is the first time ever. It's amazing. Everything was a fight before. Everything was a lawsuit before, which didn't really cost us, but it cost the taxpayers for simply doing what was right from day one. If a person's hurt on the job and they're injured, you cover their injury and you rehabilitate them and you get them back to work. But this is the first time we've ever had the opportunity to stand before you and say, oh my God, it's working. So Mayor, that's actually to you. Thanks for hiring the right people for the job, because it's really good. It's really good. As far as the stations goes, I actually have to, I got to thank the mayor. I got to thank the mayor. I got to thank the construction director. I got to thank Carlos San Jose and Mark Gomez and Ismare, because you know what, realistically speaking, it's happening. God, in 1 week's time, I had people come out and measure for cabinets. They stopped a roof leak on the station that's been going on for 15 years. I have an AC replaced that we just waited 4 months for. I mean, my God, it's not often I can come up here and get giddy like a child with a smile from ear to ear, but it's actually happening. The city is actually transforming before our eyes. And, you know, we come up here with a lot of complaining and a lot of whining and a lot of bitching over the years. And you know what? It's the first time I might be stand before you and just say, thank you. Thank you very much. Don't stop what you're doing, because you know what? It's working. And on behalf of my 207 people, we say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to speak on comments and questions? All right, moving on to announcements and amendments or corrections to the agenda.
None, ma'am.
None. I would like to add something. If we could please have Deborah, where's Ms. Dorch? I would actually like to discuss what we were giving here about the 2050 master plan of the city of Hialeah. If you could give us some details, ma'am, is that okay, Mayor? Go ahead.
We are starting the discovery phase of the master plan 2050.
Your name and
So,
address for the record, please.
Deborah Storch, City of Hialeah Zoning Director, 501 Palm Avenue.
Yes.
So we are starting the discovery phase, and we will have the first public event on Saturday 28 at 10 a.m. at Babcock Park if you cannot attend that event. The team will also be here on November 14 during the morning, and November 15 during the afternoon. On the 14th, they will come here to the city council and will make a presentation on the first findings. So we need all of you to come and to participate because we want to create a plan where we address everyone's needs.
So to be more specific, it's a plan to,
It's a master plan to create a vision for the city, how we want the city to look in 2050.
got it. All right. Wonderful. Saturday, October 28th at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yeah, Madam President, this is something that we had talked about last year and in reality, start trying to address the issues that are pertinent today, but also start building a foundation for the next generation and really set ourselves up, building blocks, if you will, for, what is to come in the future, whether it's transportation, whether it's housing, whether it's technology. And how do we address this? The value of this is if our residents participate. This is not an effort to have anybody tell us what we need to do or what we should be doing. This is an effort so that residents in our city, those that are raising their children here, could tell us what they'd like us to be addressing, okay? It would be very foolhardy if we don't take their input and at the same time try to identify areas in our city where future development could go. Where do we draw the line and protect single family homes, which is becoming an endangered species in South Florida? Where do we draw the line there to protect that? Really, the overall view of where our city should be going. So while this Saturday is just the first part of this, I would expect that over the course of time before the final master plan is put together, which all of you should be very involved in, there'll be more meetings. We want the community to have a stake in this. We want those parents to talk about the things that they'd like to see. We want that next generation to speak about the things that they'd like to see. And while I've said many times, we don't build businesses here, but we could create the atmosphere for businesses to come. And we're in a very good spot right now in Hialeah. A lot of folks are coming to invest today. We should take full advantage of that. But at the same time, understand there'll be peaks and valleys for the city. But what does that city look like, years from now? How much of it is vertical construction? How much is it protecting those areas of single family homes? And I've said, let's dare to be bold. Let's dare to dream big. Is there a people mover in the future of the city of Hialeah? And how would that look if we wanted to do it? Where are the potential development sites that we know of today so that we could start maybe collaborating and understanding what they're going to bring to our city so that how we can meet those demands in the future? So this will work again if people participate, and then it'll work if we take their participation and input and then translate that into a plan. Okay. And this hasn't been done in a long time in the city of Hialeah. It's time that we do this. Okay. So we need to seize this opportunity. And again, I would encourage all of you to be, participants, give your point of view of things that you'd like to see so that we could start creating that mosaic for the future.
I love that. And I recommend that we all go on to the Hialeah2050.com website because it seems very interactive. You could take a survey. It has some information. It has some documents and archives from the library and some timeline and phases of projects that we could do. And maybe we could share that online for other people to engage and be a part of the process. If we go to the meetings though, and I could only imagine that every council member that's up here would want to engage and be at one of these meetings, wouldn't we have to sunshine it? Because we would be talking about
If two or more of you are present at such meetings, you would have to sunshine it.
okay, so
Well,
I could
Well,
imagine.
it starts at 10. It's from 10 to 1, so you can coordinate among
well,
yourselves and
let
come at
me,
different
and
times.
I don't know, Mr. Attorney, you might be able to guide us on this. Okay. The intent here, I would say, at this kind of forum is not for us to go and give our opinions. It's more of
Listen,
receiving.
Mhm.
And very similar to, a town hall.
Okay.
We're not voting on things. We're not discussing public business at that moment amongst ourselves, but we're taking input. And in the future, if we need to properly notice it, then that's what we should do. But this is really, to a certain degree, is a publicly noticed meeting because we're putting it out there. We're not hiding the fact that we're opening Babcock Park for this meeting from 10 to 3,
From 10 to 1.
from 10 to 1, so that people will come and give their input, And like I said, in future cycles of this, I'd like us to be able to go out into the community and listen to them, right? Mr. Jenny?
Yes. I mean, sunshine compliance is actually pretty simple. The clerk notices, posts, and you have a summation of what went on, and I understand what the mayor's saying. I fully appreciate that. It's just the issue of, even when you're listening, if what may end up before the council later, that's where there's a series of opinions that if it's a meeting, but the subject will end up before the council.
Understood.
I tend to be very conservative.
So
about that.
sunshine the meeting.
Right,
Still have
that's
plenty
it.
of time.
It's very simple to do. Very easy.
Okay.
And then, there's even a notice, as you know, that says 2 or more members of the city council may be present, and that's it.
All right.
Through
Thank
the
you,
chair?
sir. Yes. Madam.
And to the attorney, I remember when, years ago, we had done a budget meeting at the library. One of the things that were said, and I don't know if the charter had changed or not, but one of the things that were said back then, it was under the Robina administration, is Bill Gronick had said that we had to have a recording of any meeting that was sunshine. So not only announce the sunshine, but I think we had to have a recording. And
What
at
the-
least that's what happened. And we stopped doing meetings like that because it was a headache.
Right.
the
Actually,
clerk out.
for example, there may be a regulation floating around here that I'm unaware of. The county has a regulation that says every meeting will be recorded and all that, but in the absence of that, all the state law requires is that you have a summation of what went on,
Correct.
ABC was discussed,
Correct.
there were votes on A, B, and C, that's it.
Minutes.
So could you check, correct? Could you
Yes.
check to see if the city has something above and beyond? Because I think
Yes, I will.
that's what the question is.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, I will do so, and we will advise you. It's important to do it.
But
Yeah.
the Madam Clerk says we don't.
Okay.
I'll confirm that, and I will advise you, councilperson, if there is anything other than what we've heard tonight, which is that there isn't.
Okay.
I will advise.
All right,
Got
thank
it.
you, sir. Any other discussion on the item? All right, thank you, Ms. Torch. We have no board appointments, so we're gonna move on to our consent agenda. Do we have any
Madam Chair?
members that would like to pull an item? Yes, ma'am, you're
You.
recognized. Can you repeat that, please?
You.
You. Letter U, just to clarify, not me.
Sorry, not you, you.
Got it. Next, anybody else? All right, do I have a
Through the chair.
motion? Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Didi?
Double D, D, got it. Yes,
Double A.
double A. Anybody else? All right, do I have a motion? I have a motion by Council Member Tundidor and I have a second by Councilwoman Gonzalez Munoz. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zaghi,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The consent agenda has passed except items U, double A, and double D.
Thank you. Item U, please.
Proposed resolution expressing its unanimous and unconditional support for the state of Israel in its military campaign against Hamas, a terrorist organization that undertook an unprovoked and criminal attack on October 7th, 2023, resulting in the deaths and abductions of thousands of Israeli civilians, urging the United States to support Israel in its hour of need and supporting Israel's ability to protect itself and its people from Hamas and similar terrorist organizations, authorizing the mayor, his designee, to report on purchasing Israeli bonds providing for transmittal of the resolution by the city clerk, and providing for an effective date.
All right.
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I just wanted to read this. I think it's important enough to read this on the record and thank you for bringing this up. So motion to approve.
All right. I have a motion by Councilwoman Casals Munoz. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Tundidor. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casa Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Tundidor.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Madam President, we will be sending this resolution to the Council General of Israel. And then we will invite him to come perhaps to the next meeting. And obviously, I appreciate you supporting this item. All of us, obviously, we're monitoring the situation and just the critical nature of it, the powder keg that they're sitting on. So I appreciate, and this sends a very clear message of where this city stands. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Item AA.
Request permission to issue a purchase order to WW Granger Incorporated for the purchase of supplies for maintenance and repairs needed throughout the city in a total expense amount not to exceed $80,000. On September 27th, 2022, the city council approved the usage of University of California contract number 2018-000-207, maintenance, repair, operations, supplies, and equipment, effective through June 30th, 2024, to add this vendor to the list of vendors to provide maintenance, repair, and operation supplies and equipment to the city. The funding for the expenditure will be drawn against the Water and Sewers Division Fund. Invent Small Tools account number 450-000-141-007.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, you recognized?
Yeah, just wanted to ask the director regarding this item. I know in the last meeting, we approved Councilmember Tindador's proposal for kind of giving our local companies a little bit more of an advantage whenever possible. I know the water department has been issuing over the course of the past few months a series of contracts. A lot of them are piggyback or what have you. I just wondered if there's a possibility, especially on some of these, like I think the director mentioned, that don't require necessarily some sort of specific license, if we could perhaps give priority or some sort of advantage where prudent to these local companies in Hialeah that might work in this space. I mean, obviously, this is a piggyback in this case specifically, but I wondered if that was a possibility moving forward.
Hi, good evening, Kevin Linsky, Public Works Department. I think I have the pleasure of kicking that to the attorney. It's probably a little bit broader question for the city than the Public Works Department. Typically, those approaches where you favor, which we was speaking with a council person just 10 minutes ago on that identical item on how in certain cities you create pools of qualified contractors and providers that are established with some local preference.
Right. Before we kick it off to the city attorney, do we have that pool currently for Public Works?
We wouldn't independently establish it. We would do it through the city, and no, I'm not aware of any such pool in Public Works, and I'm not sure the city has such a pool.
Okay.
Well, to respond to the legal points that were raised by the council person, you're all correct. This is a piggyback. So as you all know, when you're using a piggyback, you're going off the terms of that agreement. So you couldn't graft on this additional thing that's not in that agreement because it's
right.
You're derivative of that agreement. Insofar as local preference, another of the council persons recently passed a code amendment, which is now in the process of being on the books. I don't believe it was vetoed, which is a 2% preference for certain procurements and in terms of 2 points or 2% for local vendors. So in terms of establishing a pool, procurement, when directed, would be capable of, pre-qualifying a group by issuing a solicitation with minimum qualifications for that particular group and they could focus on a particular area or they could use that 2%, but that would need to be done.
Yeah, my 2 cents is I think we should create some sort of pool of local companies in this space of public works. Maybe we already have some that are registered as vendors in other areas, and that might be one way to start. We could obviously put it out to bid, but yeah, I'd like to see more local companies take some of these contracts wherever possible, right? I mean, it's not going to be every contract, but if it's possible.
Yep, fair point. And we typically establish multiple firms that can provide the same products. So even if they're local firms and we always have a choice. But yeah, I think it's a good
Through the
idea.
chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Kevin, this Granger they still have the one location in Hialeah though, right?
I
Or
wish I
is that
could tell
gone?
you. I don't know.
We used to buy directly from them. They're no longer there on 37 Avenue, on our side of 37 Avenue.
According to
I
my
thought that's
finance
where we used to
director,
buy from.
no longer there, but we'll check. Oh, you don't know?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
because that would be.
There's someone who will probably text me within about 2 minutes
Yeah.
telling me the answer, but I don't know the
Yeah,
answer.
okay. I think that's what we used to buy.
Well,
from.
I know there are at least 3 or 4, whatever we have, and I couldn't even tell you the name of the park.
Somebody
that we-
answered in
yeah.
the background.
Yeah. So there's
They're still there.
there.
They're still there. now.
Okay.
Ranger's
A
still there.
lot of these we can
Thank you.
drive to. There are probably 3 different locations we drive to. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
we could look on Google, so.
Mhm.
Motion.
Thank you. Sure, it's there. All right, thank you. All right, do I have a motion on this item?
Motion.
I have a motion
Second.
by Councilman Zogby and I have a second by Councilwoman Casas Munoz.
It was Calvo.
It was called, oh, I can't hear you, Calvo. You have to put the microphone closer to your mouth. So, I have a motion by Councilman Calvo and I have a second by, was it
Casal
Zogby
Munoz.
or was it? It was Casal Munoz. Thank you.
Ms. Casal Munoz,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you. Moving on to item double D.
Request permission to issue a purchase order to GS Anima USA Construction Corporation for payment of the annual fee for operation of the reverse osmosis water treatment plant pursuant to the service agreement between the city and the vendor dated August 18th, 2010, and amended on March 28th, 2012, as well as on July 7th, 2016, in a total amount not to exceed $4,255,000 to be paid on a monthly basis in the amount of $349,000 in addition to any electrical savings amount due as outlined in the service contract amounts, which will be offset by half through reimbursement by Miami-Dade County. The funding for this expenditure will be drawn against the Water and Sewer Division Fund Contractual Services Account Number 450-9530-536-340.
Thank you, ma'am.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. Kevin, I just have a couple questions on this item. And again, just high level, shame on me. I need to dive into this contract a little more, but we're paying this company $4.2 million to do what? To operate the water plant? Is that what it is?
Yes, there's a company that operates the water plant under, I believe, an initial 10-year term. It may have been 20 years. I thought it expired in 26. So a long-term contract, but we'll check on it. And they receive each year, and there was a base year that was involved where the base fee was set, and there are a series of escalators that can be applied each year.
Sure.
So this is, a typical year where they get a slight increase. But yes, I'm sorry, it's an operating agreement.
Okay, and I'm sorry, when does this contract, because you said it's 20 years, and then how often are the renewals?
So I'm gonna rely on, why don't you come up? Carl,
Can you come
sorry.
up to the microphone, please?
Carl Holzenberg, 3700 West Fourth Avenue, Division Director, Budget and Finance.
Thank you.
So the
Go-
contract runs from 2015 to 2030, which is from the date of the acceptance of the plant, which was May of 2015.
So, okay, so from 2015 to 2030.
Correct.
All right. And then, Carl, what's the,
This company's.
what's the rationale behind a long-term contract like that? Is it, how is it beneficial for the city?
Well, you have people that are, I believe, that are familiar with the plant and were involved in the actual construction of the plant,
Okay,
the same company.
okay.
So I believe construction started, I don't know, 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. So these people are, familiar with the RO plant and how to operate it.
Right. And so, and to your knowledge, I mean, is what we're paying, is that standard, with other?
It's
places?
based on the contract that was passed in 2010. So there's escalation through CPI increases, chemical increases, that type of thing. So it's simply based on the contract that was passed.
No,
at the time.
so my question was, so do we know of any other municipality or county that has a water plant that has subcontracted operations?
I do not. Kevin, do you know? Anybody in Dade?
Looking for first, I suppose, playing North Miami Beach. I'm not sure. If it's part of the-
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure of that.
Do you think, Kevin, just when you can, it's not, no rush now, but just can you look into that and see, more or less if what North Miami's paying, is it similar to what, right? And just kind of the comparables, because I mean, $4.2 million a year. And is the 4.2, is that 100% the city of Hialeah, or is that divided?
No, it's divided by two. Half
Okay.
Dade County, half city of Hialeah.
So the 350,000 a month, it's 50% of that is what we pay.
Correct. No, we split that with Miami-Dade County.
Yeah, but the county's also paying 3.7.
Yeah, but please, if
Kevin?
you don't mind, speak
Yeah.
on the
Sorry.
mic. And
We're discussing
talk-
among ourselves.
No, I understand,
that is
but if the
split.
director wants to make, no, respectfully, if the director
Yeah.
wants to make comments, you need to step up to the mic and give your name and,
No,
thank you.
we split that with Dade County, that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. And then just the last thing, so it's up until 2030.
Correct.
And then with options to renew, or is it just straight through to 20?
I'll have to check on that.
Okay, can you get
Yeah,
back to me on that
I'm
one
sure
too?
there's an option.
Okay, so just two things, just get back on me on that, and then what the comparables are, Kevin, when you get a chance.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Will
Appreciate
do.
it. Motion.
All right, I have a motion by Councilman
Second.
Tundidor, and I have a second by Councilwoman Gonzalez Munoz. Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Calvo,
No.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zagvi.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you. All right, moving on to administrative items. Item 11A, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting ELF Billboards LLC, a Florida limited liability company, its successors, and assigns a non-exclusive digital media boards franchise in the city of Hialeah, Florida, including the right to construct, install, operate, maintain, repair, replace, upgrade, and remove the digital media boards in and on the locations during the term of this agreement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Councilwoman Perez Felix Asarte with offices at 3250 Northeast First Avenue on behalf of ELF Billboards. There were some comments during the last meeting. We will incorporate the comments that the council had. I know that Councilman Calvo had an issue regarding I think one of the paragraphs had the long reference, the wrong reference, and we'll go ahead and make that change. Your city attorney had sent me over a provision, which was basically a termination clause for mutual convenience, which means that you could terminate at any time. That we can't do because obviously there's an investment that you put into these billboards, which obviously, if you decide to cancel on a year basis, then I wouldn't be able to recuperate the sums of money, through that early termination. That said, what we did was I'll propose to you that we will reduce the years from we had a 10-year with a 10-year option. Actually, we had 20 with a 10-year. We're going to do 10 years with another 10-year renewal. So instead of 30, it'll be down to 20 years. And I think that was conveyed to the city attorney already. That was a resolution for it. Obviously, you would get your escalation clauses, the increases on the fees. and you would get a minimum annual guarantee plus a participation on the revenue plus additional time to go ahead and advertise city projects on the boards and the messaging.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Mr. Lozada, so yeah, just because that was a concern of mine. So we're reducing the term from,
Yes,
in
sir.
essence, 30 down to 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, appreciate, and it's 2 10s.
Yeah, correct. It'll be 10 and 10.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, got it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
So just to be clear for the record, the original term will be reduced from 20 years to 10 years.
Yes,
With a renewal of 10 years
Yes.
for a total period of
20.
no more than 20 years.
correct, sir.
And you agree to that, Mr. Lasardi?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You proffered that.
I proffer that and we'll amend that accordingly.
Well, that will be an amendment to Exhibit B. The typo, which was in section 16, actually, we corrected it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Motion.
Through the
Um,
chair.
yes, sir. You're recognized.
Thank you. Felix, last
sir.
time I asked you if there was any way, and it might not be you, the right person, it might be directing this to the city, but if there was any way we can get kind of like comparables in terms of the private market, what kind of these deals we're looking at. Just my comments last time was, I just don't know if this is a great deal for us, a terrible deal. I have no idea. Obviously, I don't do marketing. But were you able to provide those numbers, or maybe somebody in the city had those?
I don't have the numbers, but I could certainly provide them, for you. And I could certainly meet with you and show you what other deals that are similar that we have that and what we pay to each of the individual landlords. In this case, it's a little bit different because it's a city, right? So you would be the landlord, but with other private landlords on this type of deals, it's a very comparable deal. And I could certainly show it to you. And, if.
Yeah, I'd like to review it. I mean, without that, I don't feel comfortable making a decision. I mean, obviously, it's the will of the council, but that was what kind of I wanted to look at.
Yeah, I'll definitely sit down with you and go through it. And, if you feel that, obviously there's an issue and you can bring the item, I guess, maybe reconsider it or what have you, but I'll certainly meet with you and show it to you.
I mean, it's the pleasure of the council. I can't make a decision without looking at that. Obviously, I want to be the guy saying no unnecessarily, but that's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
So we have.
I have a motion by Councilman Tundidor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Casals Munoz.
Sir, your motion is as amended, correct?
Correct,
As amended.
yes.
A motion with the amendments made on the record.
Correct.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Tonidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
No.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved as amended.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 11B, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance amending chapter 70 entitled Retirement and Pension, Article 4, Employees General Retirement System, Division 3, entitled Disability and Line of Duty Benefits, and Division 5 entitled Benefits, implementing the changes to the retirement system and disability benefits contained in the 2023 through 2026 collective bargaining agreement between the city and FOP for police officer members. In particular, revising section 70-70 entitled Disability Benefits for firefighter members and members not included in any bargaining unit on and after September 12, 2023. Section 70-208 entitled Purchase of Membership Service Credit Time. Section 70-210 entitled Member Contributions to Retirement Plan. And Section 70-238 entitled Service Retirement Allowance. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for penalties hereof, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an interpretation and savings clause, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, madam. Do I have any council discussion on this item? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Zogby. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Tundidor. Can we please call the roll?
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Tonidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for November 14th, 2023.
Thank you. Do we have any unfinished business?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Just, Willie, just want to let you know, I received a message from a resident saying that James H. At the park, Bright Park, it's, after 7:30, the lights are shutting off. So if you could just, please. Yeah, but he just, so thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any new business? All right, moving on to zoning. Thank you, Mayor. Have a good evening. Good night, everyone. Item PZ1, please.
Will all those persons who will be testifying on an item, please stand and raise your right hand.
Las personas que quisieran prestar sus opiniones delante de esta junta, por favor, pónganse de pie y alcen la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, if so say I do.
¿Usted jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad, toda la verdad y únicamente la verdad y que Dios sea su testigo? Por favor, diga que sí si la respuesta es afirmativa.
Let the record reflect that all have responded in the affirmative.
En el archivo público constará que todos han respondido afirmativamente.
All right, moving on to item PZ1. This is a second reading and public hearing.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance vacating, closing, and abandoning for public use of the right-of-way located adjacent to the west and southwest boundaries of the property located at 701 East 55th Street, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Is there anyone in council chambers or online that would like to speak on behalf of this item? Good evening. Hello. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is George Claro. I live at 701 East 55th Street.
You're the property owner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
This area that we're talking about, it's on the west side of the property, adjacent to 7th Avenue. If the property line, I requested a permit to replace the fence.
Okay,
The existing fence is right adjacent to the sidewalk. And this would bring the fence line 4 feet in, which would be impossible for me to keep clean. And what I would like to do is put the fence back where it needs to be, where it is presently,
it would be impossible for you to what?
to keep clean.
To keep clean. Okay,
Because it-
got it.
It's,
So for you to be able to park your vehicle,
no,
no?
there's no vehicle. It's right adjacent to the sidewalk.
Oh, to the sidewalk.
Right, it's on the west side of the property.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am, you're recognized.
So your fence where it is now, you want to put it back where it's have always been before?
Right, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
And there,
Is that the alleyway?
No. This came up,
Hey,
he
The
came
name,
up-
I'm sorry, please, for the
They
record.
were, storage planning and zoning director. This came up, he requested a permit to replace his fence.
Okay.
So when we looked at the survey, we realized that part of the property that he had inside the fence was part of the right of way. So we consulted with the streets department and the streets department said it's okay, it's better to close and abandon that portion and have him put the fence where it is at. If not, you would have the sidewalk and then you have like a slice of grass that
That's
is
happened there.
right of way
Right.
and then his property. So it's better that he has everything within the property and he takes care of the whole.
Thank you very much for doing that. Motion to approve.
I second.
yes, I have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Gonzalez Munoz and I have a second by Councilmember Zogby. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item PZ2.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from R1 Family District to R3 Multiple Family Residential District, granting a variance permit to allow the expansion of a legal non-conforming use of an existing church solely congregating on the weekend with 28 parking spaces where 76 parking spaces are required for the use of the church, and granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-181, to allow a 79 student K through 5 grade school in conjunction with a 41 children daycare and in compliance with parking and stacking requirements. Property located at 6491 West Second Avenue, Hialeah, zoned R1, one family district, legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This item is on second reading and public hearing. Is there anyone in council chambers or anyone online that would like to just speak on behalf of this item?
Motion.
I have a
Second.
motion
Unless
by,
Caesar wants to talk.
Second.
Is he there?
I was just gonna tell you that there was a full presentation last time, and since then, we have executed the declaration of restrictions with all of the
Sir,
conditions.
do you mind giving us your name and address just for the
Yes.
record? Thank you.
Cesar Mestre with offices at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Thank you.
That's all I
So
wanted
have-
to say.
I have a motion though. Did you want to present? Because I have a motion on the table.
No, that's
already.
fine.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Messer. I have a motion by Councilman Zogby and I have a second by Councilman Cabo. Oh,
Yes.
again, I didn't hear him. Okay, Councilman Cabo, go ahead. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Ms. Casam Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you.
All right.
Just for the record, that the applicant represented that the covenant has been submitted, right?
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr. Mestre?
That is correct. It was sent over to Alexander and to Deborah. It was okayed and then it was executed by,
Okay, all right.
By everyone.
That's all. Thank you.
All right.
you're welcome.
Good night, Mr. Messer.
Good night.
Moving on to item PZ3, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-161, to allow a research health center to operate in a 918 square foot bay within an existing strip mall with a maximum of 4 patients per day and 5 staff members. Property located at 3810 West 12th Avenue, Hialeah, Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District, legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, madam. This item is on second reading and public hearing. Is there anyone in council chambers or online that would like to speak on behalf of this item? I have a motion by Councilman
a second.
Casals Munoz and I have a second by Councilman Zogby. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casam Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes,
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
thank you, madam. Item PZ4, please.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a variance permit to allow 56 parking spaces where 82 parking spaces are required for a proposed new big box pharmacy in contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-2189, subsection 7. Property located at 845 East Okeechobee Road, Hialeah, Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District, legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is on second reading and public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Do I have
Second.
anyone in council, if you could please give me a moment?
Sure.
Do I have anyone in council chambers or anyone online that would like to speak on behalf of this item?
Good evening, Felix Osarte with us at 3250 Northeast First Avenue. I'll wait for your motion. There's a motion to.
There's a motion, but I actually wanted to say something on behalf of this item, if I may. There is going to be on the street parking, how many parallel parkings did we say?
There's gonna-
8?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
But those are actually those are parking spaces for the park that we've created on the little access street.
okay.
Correct.
Um,
And under your recommendation, it says that we could use them, but I think for a maximum, I think of like an hour or something. I think there was a condition on it.
Deborah Storch, Planning and Zoning Director. The condition is to post signs indicating that those parking spaces are reserved for the park users, cannot be used by the customers or employees of the Navarro property.
Okay, and we said that there was 9 or 8?
I think it's eight.
It's eight. It's eight, I believe.
It's 8.
Eight.
Okay. I'm sure that you've been in contact with the residents of that area.
Yes,
Okay. I know that there's a church nearby there,
yes.
and there's been some concern on parking
Mhm.
at their location. They've extended some types of conversations with us, and I don't know if you have been able to speak to them. One of the things that they offered was to see if maybe on Saturday nights when they have like a mass, if
Mhm.
they can use a portion of the parking that is designated to the CVS. Have they brought that up to your attention?
No, Councilwoman Perez, no, none of these issues that I've read about in the paper or I've heard peripherally, no one has reached out to us. And we, gave one of the members who's actually was interviewed on TV. I gave him my contact information. He spoke to the developer from Bose Development. And we said, look, we're here to answer any questions. And no one ever approached us for anything, right?
Okay,
But certainly we would be willing to talk to the neighbors and figure out what they need. And obviously, you want to help people, you want to be a good neighbor.
right.
I will tell you, the hotel we're going to close on this property hopefully by next week, we
Mhm.
believe. The hotel is probably going to be demolished as soon as the demolition permits come in. It'll be done. It'll be out of there by January, which
Good.
is really not
Mhm.
the best use for that entire area, including the church. It was really, so that's going to be gone. The tire store is gone, and that'll be gone by January. And we hope to have everything done and the park open and, everything, all the improvements that we have to do by January of 25, right? So it'll take about a year to build.
Okay,
So, we're excited about it. We think this is going to be a great thing. And again, if somebody reaches out to you, I'm here. They can
Okay.
certainly call me. If you want to put me in contact with anybody, I'd be more than happy to.
to speak to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that they've been having some concerns. I don't know if they've been using the parking appropriately. I think they've been misusing the park, space to park their vehicles at night for the church. So I think now they're a little bit apprehensive that this property is going to no longer be available for them to host. I think they have like a prayer group Thursday nights and they have a mass that they do Saturday nights. So they were concerned, even though they were using that property illegally, they shouldn't be parking at the park, but now they have, this issue. So, I don't know what we can do to help them. I don't know how busy the parking lot would be, at the Navarro on a Saturday night. We don't know what to predict, what we can, and I don't want to make you agree to something that we don't know what the customer base is going to be at your property. And tie you into that, but I would like to at least have some kind of conversation because it is a church and, to see maybe what we can work out with the church as well as the city, Deborah, what we can offer them.
Yeah, well, maybe that is a dog's park. So I don't know if it will, until what time it will be open, probably Saturday nights. At the time that they hold that mass is closed. And then they can use those parking spaces that are public.
Right.
And so.
Okay. And then I also want to put on the record because I know that there's been a lot of back and forth, whether it's in the news or that has been written. I appreciate that you guys have salvaged the fig tree that's there at the park, that you haven't taken it down. I think that that's really was important to a lot of us in the city. So thank you for making an effort and keeping that there. And there's been a confusion that, we're giving away a piece of park to get a lot, to get a home. And that's misinformation that's out there. We are getting another park with amenities. The park that we have now is just a piece of grass that's there. Yes, people use it, but we're going to get something nicer. You guys are going to invest in that, whether it's benches and things for mascots and different animals that are there. So I appreciate that you are going to make something nicer and preserve, what we do have that means a lot on that piece of property. So I just want that to be on the record because it would be illegal for us to do an exchange of land that is going to be of lesser value, right? So we're getting something better in exchange this property. So thank you for that.
Through the chair.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
And again, that was an important piece to echo, right? That we're following the city charter with this process, right? And nothing different or legal about it. But I just want to be clear because I don't think folks could see it right from an aerial perspective. I don't know if the residents were able to do this, but Mr. Lasarte, the idea is to again, the Three Friends Park, it's a total of about 18,800 square feet. Right?
Correct.
The idea, the swap that we're
Yes.
talking about is approximately 30% of that park, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not swapping. I just want to be clear on this point. We're not
It's-
swapping the whole park.
No, it's actually 3,000 square feet. We're
Correct.
exchanging 3,000 square feet for a 5,000 square foot property that's going to make the park more contiguous. So
Right.
you're getting 5, we're getting 3 from the city, you're getting 5. And then the city hired an appraiser, your own appraiser. The appraiser came back and said, hey, this thing is kind of like an even swap. Right. Exactly. It's 3,200 versus 5,800, right? 3,200 square foot piece that we're getting from you, we're getting you 5,800.
Right.
So we're getting a bigger piece of property.
Yeah, you have your appraiser come out and review everything, your guys, not
Right,
us.
right.
You guys do it. And they said, look, it's an even swap, basically, right? As a
Right.
matter of fact, they said, you know what? You're getting more land, your property's actually worth more, right? So there was an imbalance. Deborah took it upon herself to review this appraisal and say, look, actually, you should give the city, $120,000 over and above, right? Even though your appraiser said that they were even, Deborah said, look, you should pay more. We agreed to that, right? As a gesture in good faith, we really want to do this project. So we're giving you more money than what the actual appraiser said that the property was worth, right? So you're getting a larger piece of land plus $127,000, of which we could do improvements if you want us to do on the park, unless you want to do it yourselves, or we could give a money to the city.
So, Mr. Lozada, so
Yes.
again, my point, and I'm glad you shared that on the record again, but the idea would be, again, once we've this transaction has been concludes, the idea for the city would be to pretty much connect all of the parcels that are pretty much out there. So we have a parcel, right?
Yes.
Pretty much on Southeast 12th Street and Lejeune,
Yeah,
which is about 9,500 square feet.
right.
The property that you guys bought to the east of that.
Is
Right.
adjacent to that,
Correct,
yeah.
which is 5,700 square feet.
Right.
And I think the idea is to connect those two with
Three Friends Park, correct.
which I think at the end of the day, minus 30%.
Right.
Let's call it 30%. We're still looking at over half an acre that we're going to be connecting. So in essence, I think what it's important to note here is that we're going from a park that's maybe, 18,000 square feet total,
Right.
right? That's barely being used, from what we've seen to now having everything interconnected and having about half an acre of a dog park and other.
Right.
So Deborah, is that a fair assessment? Yeah. Okay.
There will be a very nice driveway with pavers and parallel parking and trees that will connect both areas of the park.
Okay. All right.
Through the
Perfect.
chair.
Yes, you recognize?
Deborah,
Yes.
could you please tell me when that Three Friends Park started?
No, I really don't know.
Was it like over 50 years ago?
Yeah, it was dedicated by someone to the city. It was property that was given to the city and then the city decided to make a park there.
And you being a historian as you are, is that a historic park or is it just?
It's not an historic park, and when they did the park to the city, there's no restriction. They did the land to the city and the city decided to do a park. In some other parks, it's deeded to the city with the intention of only being a park, but
Correct.
here there's no restriction. There was
Okay.
no restriction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
for
I
that
have a
added
motion
point.
to approve if I'm not mistaken.
So I had a motion on the table by Councilwoman Casals Munoz,
Second.
and I have a second by Councilman Tundidor. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. Casal Munoz,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, moving on to item PZ5, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a variance permit to allow the construction of a new medical center that is 7 stories in height, where 3 stories are the maximum allowable height, and to allow 725 parking spaces where 768 parking spaces are required. In contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1119 and section 98-2189 subsection 7. Property located at 1475 West 49th Place, Hialeah, Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District, legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This item is on first reading. Do I have any council discussion?
Motion to approve.
Yes, sir, you recognize.
Yeah, this is, Deborah, this is within, the hospital, right? Within the hospital boundaries?
Wait.
Sorry, Deborah
Yeah.
Storch, Planning and Zoning Director. This is the Larkin Hospital, and they came a couple of years ago and they requested a conditional use permit for future plans to expand. There is already a 7-story building,
Yeah.
so they are adding another building. And the parking that they are asking the variance is it can be considered the minimums
Yeah.
because they have a large amount of parking.
And it's within,
Yes,
yeah, that's
and
fine.
there's public transportation that
Perfect.
goes there, so it's fine.
I second.
Okay, so I had a motion by Councilwoman Casals Munoz, and I have a second by Councilman Tundidor. Can we please call the roll?
Ms. Casal Munoz.
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for November 14th, 2023.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 9:11.
And just for the record, I know the meeting is adjourned, but just a point of information, the very efficient city clerk checked the code as to the question
Yes.
by Councilwoman Canals Munoz, and the code simply reflects
Minutes.
the state law. So I don't want to overrule any prior, but all that's required is minutes, summation of minutes.